Welcome back to Woke Folks. Buckle up as we turn up the heat on today's most fiery debates, mixing sharp insights with a dash of humor to challenge what you thought you knew.
What do you think about the migrant crisis here in the United Kingdom?
I don't think we've got a migrant crisis in the United Kingdom. We've got people coming here because they're desperate, because of the countries that we've exported wool to, primarily Iraq. I don't think we're overwhelmed by migrants or anything like that at all. It's just a fantasy to direct hate at people.
According to this wokey, there's no migrant crisis, just misplaced hate. Sounds like someone needs a fact check.
About the illegal immigration, well, we permit some to come over, but the trouble with that is the unintended consequences. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. According to Fusion and Amnesty International, reported in the Huffington Post, 60 to 80% of women and girls who cross that border illegally are sexually assaulted. That's a left-wing source, not a right-wing scare source. But it's a scary statistic nonetheless. The road to hell is paved with good intentions, and there's nothing compassionate about creating a system that further incentivizes that lawlessness and further empowers human traffickers, smugglers, and criminals and human coyotes. We don't want to empower that at all. So Chesterton described how when you take one virtue out of balance, when you take one and make an idol out of that one virtue to the exclusion of the others, it can come to resemble vice. So if we take our compassion out and our mercy out, and we think that's a wonderful thing, if we do that to the exclusion of our prudence, we won't have much of a country left. We won't have a country.
He enlightens a lefty with the hard truths about illegal immigration. Facts first, feelings second.
Are not sending all of their greatest people over across the border. He's talking about Africans. He's talking about the immigrants, the illegals that killed 4,000 Americans just in 2018. That's what he's talking about. That's very progressive.
What?
That's very progressive, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're doing a great job. I've gotten a lot of that today, a lot of progressive behavior like you're doing. Not from a grown man, though. This is the first time a grown man who knows. There it is.
When faced with real data, our wokey friend flips out. Surprise! Surprise!
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, I really need a toilet.
The toilet, that's a male, but you can identify, that's fine.
Yeah. I mean, I don't, but thanks for the offer.
You can, like,
Yeah. That's great.
Can I ask you one more question on that? One more question, and then you can go toilet, male, female, depends what you identify as. A lot of this crew here, they like to attack me for the fact that I call myself a journalist, and the Australian government does, okay? But they say, you're not a real journalist. At the same time, this is the same group that says that if I want to, I can identify as a woman. So how's it easier for me to identify as a different gender than a different job? Do you see where I'm a bit confused by their ideology and thought process?
Reporter shuts down a lefty with a hilarious yet mind-boggling question. You've got to hear this one.
In office, you can't just say, I'm going to tell you he's really good right here while he destroys the rest of things.
I'm telling you what's good that's happening
You're telling
globally.
something from a male perspective, so it still isn't going to matter.
What, because I'm a male? You're very observant.
And I know, and I'm very wise. You will never know what it's like to be a woman. You can put on a pink shirt, and you
I'm not pretending to know. I'm not pretending to know what it's like to be a woman.
There's not equal pay. No, there
Wait,
isn't equal
what's the
pay.
wage gap, really quick?
I don't need to tell you a number. I can tell you from a living experience.
Anecdotal evidence is not strong evidence.
My evidence? It's anecdotal. I live it. Oh,
Yeah, that's the definition of anecdotal evidence.
Anecdotal.
A feminist gets ruffled by a reporter's question and argument. Things are heating up.
Last 8 years in Texas, we had 202,000 illegal immigrants in our prison systems. Okay, that is an insane number. Over 500 homicides, 24
relative to
it doesn't matter.
the other population.
You think those people that have one of those family members of those 500 murdered individuals cares about what percentage it is when someone murdered their child, their sister, that wasn't even supposed to be in the country?
National interest, which is what we're talking about, taking my tax money and shoving it on a insane project for his politics.
Paying to have all those people in prison or in jail systems and everything.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to talk about the economics
of it, illegal immigrants, we know they're the minute they get out, they ship them across the border. I mean, I have no problem with that. In fact, that's why.
So you'd rather wait till they come here and then they kill someone and then we take care of it?
I
I would
can't.
rather wait till an illegal immigrant crosses the border, kills someone, and then gets deported instead of just deported.
Pro-illegal immigration wokey gets schooled with crime stats and sharp arguments. That's a tough lesson.
They make you a person, but the day before when you're in the womb, you're not.
Do you remember being in the womb?
I don't remember breathing and getting my umbilical cord cut.
You're probably, I don't know. I think you're like on some crazy shit.
I'm not the one advocating for genocide.
I don't think abortion is a genocide, and I think that's incredibly belittling to actual genocides. How do you feel like,
So 1 million babies are terminated every year in this country. How is that not a genocide?
Well, they're not babies, they're fetuses. That's an important thing to remember. But how do you think a Holocaust survivor would feel about you comparing the two? That seems very inappropriate to
Is that the only genocide? What do you think about communism? Do you like communism?
Yes.
Okay, well then there we go. You want to talk about, how do you think communists feel when you sit there and talk about how great that ideology is when 120 million people were killed under it?
I think that wasn't actually communism.
Of course it wasn't. And terminating.
This cringy woke girl's abortion stance gets dismantled. Sometimes reality bites.
This is her car. These are the Aboriginal beads that were given to her by native bands.
Yeah, but it's kind of hard. And it's not for me on flights, but it's kind of hard to believe because Greta's kind of it's really a hope for my family, my generation. So if I don't have like strong evidence, I can give you an answer.
What do you think about that?
I don't know what is the source of the photos. I'm afraid I cannot say anything.
If they were true, if they're real, and I can promise you they are, what do you think about them?
Well, nobody should use plastics in the first place, but I don't know what is the source, so I'm afraid I cannot really say.
I took it myself. Well, are you surprised that Greta Thunberg, someone who...
Why is it you're using plastic? This is for using. Have you used single-use plastics?
We're not the climate messiah.
Reporter exposes Greta Thunberg's hypocrisy right in front of her fans. Awkward but necessary.
I know you're not a big fan of the Black Lives Matter movement because you put out a video titled 7 Reasons Why the Black Lives Matter Sucks.
I kind of see Black Lives Matter the same way I see PETA. Great name, decent marketing, and if people are fooled just by the name of it, people for the ethical treatment of animals, who wouldn't want that? Look at this adorable dog. Who wouldn't want to treat this animal ethically? Black Lives Matter. Who wouldn't think Black Lives Matter? But then you look at the actual actions of the group and the people that are high up and the stealing the money and, the fact that they just have gotten away with so much because of that platitude name. That's really the issue.
So do you think, so you described them as domestic at some point. So would you say that like the group, the people running the group, they're the problem, but the message itself is something you believe in? Like, do you believe that like Black people have been like disparaged and they've been
100%?
Yeah.
Black Lives Matter is poised as this group that really, really helps Black people. Meanwhile, all that funding they were literally just stealing and buying mansions for themselves. Whereas, Trump actually did things for the Black community and it's completely ignored. So people are just very tribal.
Yeah.
People he funded all these HBCUs and he did a lot of things for Chicago and but because he's Trump, but because Black Lives Matter is on our side, love them, even though they could have used all those billions of dollars they were raising to actually improve the lives of Black people. So one could say, you care about Black people more if you recognize that group is toxic.
Blair White lays out the facts on the BLM movement. Facts don't lie.
The reality of your biological body and your chromosomes.
Well, how do you explain pain? How do you explain the sensory experience that we experience with pain, which at times falsely experiences what's wrong with our body?
Innes, we've got 3 minutes left. Can we talk about the actual subject at hand? Okay. You say these are
but this is the crux.
Innes,
this
it's
the crux
not the
of the
crux
issue
of
here.
it. Innes,
Innes,
it's not your
because you're
podcast,
denying
darling.
the
I'm asking you.
reality.
I don't know why I even bother. You can't. I mean, let's deny the reality of 2 + 2 = 4 as well. I mean, we can argue about that, but it's a waste of everyone's time.
You're citing a widely discredited medical wisdom of the human body.
It's not discredited. Needless medical I'm still trying to ask the second question. Needless medical processes, you say. They're not needless. Someone who's got gender dysphoria needs to be given a lot of psychological help. I don't believe that certainly 16-year-olds should be given any sort of medical treatment because we know how damaging that can be. Ability to decide to be infertile for the rest of your life, I think, is something that 16-year-old is not.
Anchor lays down the law with a pro-trans activist using using cold, hard facts. School is in session.
They means multiple people. No one ever clarifies.
Dictionary. The English dictionary.
I have a quick explanation on the they them pronouns. Say someone left their jacket in a movie theater. You went up, go to the clerk, say, someone lost their jacket. You would say someone lost her jacket if you didn't know it was like, feminine jacket. Or if it was,
Amen. So there and they are not, there and they is plural. They, that's plural. They, well, obviously you did it because you think that you're a we. You shouldn't be talking about pronouns. There, you said there. There and they are different. They are. There you go. But can you say they're over there? How many, if I say they over there, how many people am I talking about? How many people am I talking about?
one person.
So I can say they are over there, I mean one person. No, so TH.
Preacher and pro-trans activists have a fiery debate over pronouns. It's getting hot in here.
Pronouns are a little bit too complicated to fit in my bio, so I was just going to leave them out, but I've decided to make a video about it. Pronouns that I use are they, them, she, her, and clown, clonsel.
Okay.
I prefer a mixture of those, but I do know that some people have a really hard time mixing different pronouns together, and if that is something you really struggle with, I would prefer that you not exclusively use she, her. If you're only going to use one pronoun set for me, use they, them, or clown, clonsel. I don't want to be called she, her alone. However, I really prefer a mixture of all three. And please do not use he, him pronouns for me.
Oh, God forbid.
Wokey confuses everyone with her pronoun preferences. Can anyone keep up?
Do you believe that trans women are women? Or are you not willing to go there?
They're not. They were born men.
Question. So if you want to reach across the aisle or, talk to people who disagree with you, how do you expect to do that when you won't acknowledge that they are humans who are the gender that they have transitioned to be? How do you expect to have this conversation if you won't say that trans women are women?
I'll give you this. I believe that some trans women believe that they're women, but that doesn't actually make it true. I know kids that think they're dinosaurs or dogs or cats, and that doesn't make it true. Just because you believe something doesn't mean that it's true. And the nice thing to do is to be honest and have a conversation and help these people who are feeling.
Host debates a pro-trans enthusiast on trans women are women. Who will come out on top?
Don't come in here with no red hat. We ain't making America great again because they ain't never been great. How did you happen to hire a team of all black women? I write my job descriptions such that they attract black women. I have an anti-racism policy. I have a sentence that said, this is a black woman-owned company that centers the needs of black people. We are very clear in my values are really clear even in the job description, that it not only attracts, but it also repels certain values and beliefs.
This black woman does things that would cause an uproar if a white woman did them. Double standards much?
Come on, man.
Answer the question, but I did want to ask also things you said about the trans community. You said this past October when they announced the Bud Light sponsorship that you go so hard on Bud Light in your next fight, they'll have to accept me or denounce me when they know will know what they stand for. Are you
this guy's like that. This Canadian's not that Canadian.
Are you still going to use your fight time to kind of speak on that?
Here's the thing about Bud Light. 10 years ago, to be trans was a mental illness. And now all of a sudden, people like you have weaseled your way in the world. You are an infection. You are the definition of weakness. Everything that is wrong with the world is because of you. And the best thing is the world's not buying it. The world's not buying your fucking bullshit you're peddling. The world is not saying, you know what, you're right. Chicks have, the world's not saying that. The world's saying, no, there are two genders. I don't want my kids.
MMA fighter takes down a lefty journalist over trans issues. It's a knockout.
Category. So Mr. Thomas, William Thomas, could have had a delusion in his head that he's a woman while competing against other men. Instead, we had to reconfigure all of our systems so Riley, with XX chromosomes, had to compete against delusional freak with XY chromosomes, so then she had to tie. Here's the problem with the trans thing. Why do we have to change our systems for your mental problem? We don't. Compete in the chromosomal category that you were born into. This is one of the big problems, is that we should not have to redesign society just because you're tormented. Mr. Thomas is a broken person. Only Jesus can heal Mr. Thomas. And we actually did him a disservice by furthering his campaign of brokenness into the female category. A properly configured society says, bro, you got problems, let's help you.
Charlie Kirk dismantles a lefty on the Leah Thomas controversy. No punches pulled.
Want to catch Wokey moments in 4K? Watch till the end. Subscribe, like the video, and comment Wokies for a chance to win a brand new iPhone 16 or a cash prize. Also, don't forget to check out the next video on the end screen for more chances to win.
What is your favorite accomplishment of hers as VP of the United States?
Honestly, I can't answer that question.
You know, honestly, that's a good question. I can't really say specifically.
I can't, I'm humble there.
What do you guys think?
I can't think of anything, specifically.
I don't know. Sorry.
It's more about, she just represents, I think I like what she stands for and how she conducts herself.
What's your favorite accomplishment of hers as vice president?
I don't know. I haven't really been.
These Kamala Harris supporters can't list a single accomplishment of hers as VP. Yikes, that's embarrassing.
All right, Steve, what brought you here?
To find Merrick Garland and tell him
to find who?
Merrick Garland!
Who is that?
He was supposed to be Supreme Court Justice, but then Obama let Mitch McConnell in the turtle style.
Are you so graphic? Let's tone it down. How many drugs are you on right now?
Only George Carlin.
Only George Carlin?
Only George Carlin.
What
other facts you need to know?
What are your thoughts on January 6th?
That this is the greatest day for America, everybody. Yes, it is!
Oh, wow.
I'm to walk off right now.
Why are you so passionate?
Because I like democracy now, and I'm not talking to the right now.
Hold on. She just said the N-word. She just said the N-word.
What?
What the heck is wrong with her?
Wait, let's go chase
Why did you just say the N-word?
Because we're all racist.
Why would you do that?
Because Kamala Harris knows I'm here now.
Can I ask if you're a man or a woman?
Does Doug Emke have his computer? Yes.
She just
Jerry Seinfeld? Yes.
Are you a man or a woman?
Crazy lady uses the N-word and justifies it because everyone's racist. That's not how it works.
January 6th, do you think that it was an attack? Do you think that it was domestic?
It was an insurrection against the government of the United States, and I think that all of those involved should be held accountable.
How about the Capitol Police? Do you think the Capitol Police that killed the people, do you think they should be held accountable?
Voting matters. We put our lives that killed the person, for instance, who was smashing through a door and wouldn't obey orders.
Well, I think you're referencing Ashley Babbitt, but there were two others killed by Capitol Police.
Well, Capitol Police were killed too. So if you're here to defend January 6th,
Wokey wants accountability for the January 6th incident, but stumbles on police accountability. Consistency is key.
That Hamas are justified in what they're doing then?
Well, in terms of their goal to free Palestine from Israel control, yes. But in terms of the actions of violence that are going on, obviously not, because violence overall is not a way to achieve the means that you need. But if an uprising is what it takes to free the people of Palestine, that's what it takes. It's just as simple as that. We've had cases of uprisings before, specifically in things like Vietnam. My dream solution.
Wokey thinks Hamas represents a Palestinian uprising. That's a controversial take. For more Wokey videos, click on the screen right now.